Once again, it's great to be back. And I'm just so appreciative of the opportunity to share a bit of, I guess, my personal journey and how this is opening up into this nature and forest therapy practice. It's so exciting to hear so much being shared about forest bathing, mindfulness, meditation, all of these tools that we can use to bring to the center point of this work. And just for a little background, I served for 12 years with the U.S. Forest Service in the Conservation Education Program in both Texas and Washington, D.C. And in Washington, D.C. is where I served as the Partnerships, Diversity, and Inclusion Specialist. And this is where I found nature and forest therapy, actually listening to one of Dr. Kathy Wolf's presentations where she mentioned forest bathing. And I branched out looking, researching on my own more about this practice and thinking that I had been before as a nature girl throughout my life. And when I went on my first walk, I realized I've never done this before. I've never been brought so deeply into the space of nature connection. And so we're really working to weave this practice into diverse community engagement, focusing on diverse people, cultures, and then also into the urban and community forestry world. Really focusing on forest health and that relationship to human health, and then stewardship and conservation. Next, please. So Shinrin-yoku, or forest bathing, again, really just wrapping yourself in the atmosphere of the forest or nature or wherever you are and whatever ecosystem that might be. Really, this was brought to bear under the Japanese government and their Department of Agriculture, essentially, in forests and fisheries. And so they started to bring people out onto their national public lands for healing, because they started to see so many of the chronic diseases that we are seeing now. And really, this practice is thought to be the most widespread nature-based activity that connects forests and human health, with a tremendous body of research around it. Next, please. And again, bathing in the atmosphere of the forest, opening our senses, really being present, wrapping ourselves in nature's healing embrace, but also the phytoncides, or the volatile chemicals that are emitted by trees that really serve as the tree's immune system. If they're being attacked by either some insect or a fungi or any type of disease, they actually start to emit more phytoncides. And through a tremendous body of research, it's been found that these phytoncides, when we breathe them in and we're bathing in these phytoncides, we are actually increasing our own immune system, reducing our stress levels by reducing our cortisol levels, increasing natural killer cells, and overall just increasing our own immune function. So I venture to say there's a lot left there to learn through research. So I'm so excited to see all of these researchers on our call right now. And next, please. And I would just say that I truly feel, and I believe I had the opportunity as the first Forest Service employee to be supported in becoming an Association of Nature and Forest Therapy Certified Guide through an intensive training. The training is 6 months in length, plus now an additional 4-day in-person immersion training. I went through the practice or the training in 2018, and it's really an evidence-based integrated wellness practice that we now know benefits people, of course, with all this research, but we're also seeing these benefits to nature and reciprocity, or giving back and stewardship. Next, please. And so this is really, it's all interconnected: physical, psychological, and ecological, building relationship with the natural world, or what we often call the more than human world. Next, please. And as we experienced just a while ago, again, that was just a taste of the forest therapy aspect. Many might call it forest bathing, again, connecting to those initial 5 senses, which we know opens us up to over 22, and some are saying more, senses of being self-aware, that creativity, intuition. We went to the imaginal sense. So again, this isn't a naturalist walk or a hike even. It's not from getting here to there. It's just about being present. Next, please. And as guides, we offer invitations, and these invitations we say come from the natural world around us. Although we do use a series of standard sequence of invitations that bring people into more depths of nature connection. We often call it liminal space, where you actually forget about time. You become so connected to what is around you instead of thinking, or you begin feeling and become embodied. And we give these invitations that is that an invitation. It is whatever is right for you, the forest or the natural world calls you in for that healing. Next, please. Often there's quiet sitting or wandering, as I mentioned earlier, the water who is in motion, slowing down to the rhythm of the natural world around you. Often this takes, it's almost a panic situation for some people. They have a really hard time moving into that second invitation. Once they get through that, it becomes like a different experience. Next, please. And we often say that, and many of our invitations are about befriending the natural world around us. We often have people that come back into the circle, as we shared earlier in circle, which is a really important component. We hear a lot of this friendship that occurs. Next, please. And again, sharing and being witnessed is a key component of the nature and forest therapy practice that may be different from a forest bathing experience. This was developed by Amos Clifford, who is the founder of the Association of Nature and Forest Therapy. And often we will grab something from the land like this, like a nature microphone or a sharing piece. And once we are being witnessed as the person that is sharing with the sharing piece, and when you pass it, then you become the person witnessing others. And so the entire circle is building this cultural repair. And oftentimes people are feeling very disconnected from people and the land, and this brings us together. So cultural repair arises through nature connection. Next, please. We often say, this is our motto, so to speak, that the forest is the therapist, the guide opens the doors. So we are not therapists. There are many individuals who are therapists of some kind who become trained, and then they are therapists. But in general, the practice is to train as a guide who you can lead others into this space. Next, please. And there are many guides around the world. There are now about 1,800 certified guides, approximately 900 here in the US, about 300 in Canada, and then throughout 6 continents and so many different languages. Next, please, and cultures. And I'll mention that I had the great honor of hosting with another 2 forest therapy guides, Dr. Don Rakow, Dr. Kathy Wolf, Dr. Naomi Sachs, Florence Williams, many others, who joined in a remote nature and forest therapy session. This started, of course, upon the onset of COVID. It was never even thought of prior. Well, it was by my former supervisor, but ANFT did not want to bring it forward. Now it has been brought forward, and it is a powerful experience. It really does connect people wherever they are. We had 10 states, 4 countries, and 4 provinces all on one connect. And so people were noticing their nature connection around other countries. So I mentioned this because this is a wonderful practice to bring people into nearby nature connection. It's live, it's not recorded. And so people are pulsing out on their invitations, they come back and they share. You can use either like earbuds, you don't even have to be on screen. Some people don't want to be on screen, others do. Others want to share their elation, their connections with the more than human world. And so it's really uniting people through this nature experience. We have a body of diverse ANFT certified guides who can serve diverse participants in a variety of languages. We have a number of people who are now going through trainings in Spanish and other languages. And this is really supporting the wellness of people and the land and creating a relationship. You find that people create relationship with themselves, with others in the circle, and with the land, the natural world. And we'll go to next, please. And so what are some ways that we might bring this practice to our campuses? I would